Is this the most realistic looking zombie game ever? Some people might argue that. We wanted to talk about this today. Recently, it came across our desk a new update trailer for Bodycam. As you probably know, the viral competitive first-person shooter game that released a few years back. It's still technically in early access, but most recently it got updated with a zombies mode. And the trailer was absolutely awesome, so we just wanted to jump in and take a look. The offering here and what they have isn't quite enough for us to make like a full before you buy video and give it that treatment, but it was fun, it was something different, we were looking for something to play, so we jumped in, and it's pretty cool. With that, there are some caveats. You just have to know going in that Bodycam itself is still very much an early access game, and if you're only used to big AAA flashy games, there's some stuff this game is definitely lacking. But the visual quality, obviously the filter, the fact that it looks like it's real world footage recorded on a police body cam, like that type of thing, combined with just some good, simple, fun gunplay, movement, shooting, all that, makes for an interesting and pretty good time at your PC playing a game. I still think it could use a lot, but the community has really taken to it. A lot of people really enjoy playing it, and there's some good stuff here. Now, the zombies mode in particular, essentially what this is for Halloween, a zombies mode was added to the game as like a timed thing, and now it's fully here. It's a little bit more fleshed out, and you can access it whenever you want. You can just jump into it, you can host your own, you can invite up to 3 other friends to go co-op through it, and it's PvE. So the learning curve is a little less intense. I still recommend playing a couple of body cam matches, maybe going through that like little tutorial shooting gallery area, but ultimately this is 2 zombies maps, 2 ways to play. There's the Haunted Asylum map, which actually comes from the Halloween update event from 2024, as well as a village map, which kind of gives me Resident Evil Village vibes, and that's all right. I love that. What you get is a very, very simple, like simplistic zombies type of gameplay mode, but with that really good body cam gameplay, first person shooter, perspective, visual style, all that. There's not a lot to it. You just kind of progress through these pretty damn good looking maps, shooting your way through, occasionally picking up some small weapons and figuring out a few things here and there, but that's really it. So with that, I think it's safe to say that like you can go right now, you can buy Bodycam on Steam for like $30 US. That is not worth the price of admission here. The zombies mode is really, really simple. This game is clearly made by a small team, and there's not much to this. It can be glitchy, it can be weird, it can be buggy. The zombies don't have a ton of animations. There's not really a lot to it, but I gotta say, still playing through it for a few hours, it was a good bit of fun because that view and just the way the game really effectively uses light and darkness and the visual filters made for a good, really engrossing zombie shooting gameplay experience. It can be pretty scary, you can die pretty much instantly, and these things come out of nowhere. Sometimes it's bullshit and they spawn from, I swear to God, just like the corner, but that's also part of the fun of keeping you on your toes. And when you're with a good crew, which I was lucky to have, we were all kind of watching each other's backs, trying to play as tactically as we possibly could, and it was good for that. Pacing wise, you kind of just progress through. The asylum map is just kind of turning on generators, wandering around, getting doors to open. And I will say the map is kind of clever in how it funnels you, and it forces you in like little situations where you're just kind of scrambling around to cover multiple hallways where zombies are pouring in. But the village map has a lot to it. It's just paced really well because it's like 1 minute you're wandering through the forest, then you're stuck in a canyon with zombies falling down, like almost raining from the sky. Then you're in underground caverns fighting zombies in a mine shaft. You can go to like a haunted cemetery with a big big church ringing its bell. There's just a lot of really cool shit here. And the community has figured out that with Village, there is technically like a big ending to it. You got to figure out some things, and thankfully the community has done a really good job piecing it together so far. But while you're blasting your way through these levels, you'll encounter slow, regular old shuffling zombies and some fast ones that screech and run at you. They all kind of look and feel the same, but those fast ones can be a little bit more dangerous, and occasionally you'll encounter like a bigger, lumbering kind of boss zombie, and these guys look cool as hell, and they take a shit ton of bullets. And that actually makes it pretty fun because you can just sit there and unload into these guys. But you always got to be watching your back because a zombie can come up behind you and basically tap you on the shoulder and you instantly die. This is where the game feels still a little rough, still a little work in progress, because you don't have a lot of visual feedback of when you're getting hit or when you're about to die. Obviously, it means you need to just watch your six constantly. You have to have your head on a swivel, right? But even in terms of sound design, it's pretty difficult sometimes to even hear a zombie coming up behind you. And then when you do die, sometimes you don't even realize you died for a second. Look, again, you can argue that's realism, because if you died in real life, you probably wouldn't know you died right away, right? Depending on what you believe. Still, look, I think the zombies hitting you and hurting you and you dying, I think could feel a little better. My other criticism, other than just like it being light on content, is I really wish there was more gore, because this game has a ton of potential for that. These zombies sometimes go down in a shot. Other times you can riddle them with bullets or shoot their leg out and they'll fall down. That stuff's really great, but the gore, if it had better gore, it would have taken it to a whole nother level. I would love to see them add that. Even though I know they do like the Bodycam thing where they censor some footage, like they pixelate footage, that would even be cool to see on the zombies, but you don't really get it. Also, I think this might be a bigger thing with the game itself and updates and stuff, but I did have some performance issues, specifically the performance in Village did drop after a point, and I did have to futz with some settings a little bit here and there to get the game running to my liking. So again, it is still an early access game, a work in progress game, and again, one definitely being worked on by a small team. Still, we had a lot of fun blasting these fools away, and then as you go, you'll find little crates with question marks on them. You can crack them open and find either special grenades or weapons, a big shotgun, a Desert Eagle, an Uzi, an SMG, a big old assault rifle. You find all kinds of stuff. When you die, if your other teammates are alive, you will eventually respawn, but the one downer is that you don't get all the weapons that you had picked up. You start back with a pistol, so hopefully your friends can be friendly enough and, drop you one of their spare guns, or you're just SOL. And look, in terms of engagement, other than the shooting and the wandering around, there's not a lot to it. If you're into like Call of Duty zombies, mechanically, there is drastically less going on here. You're just progressing through, occasionally wandering around and turning on a generator, then following that cable to the door that it then opens. Every once in a while, you'll find those weapon crates, but really it's just about the moment-to-moment creeping around, shooting zombies, and trying not to die. And that is where this works really well. Is it the most compelling, life-changing thing? No, but moment-to-moment, it can be incredibly tense. Again, the use of light and darkness is really good here. The on-screen darks, the black is deep, it is rich, you can't see anything. You need that flashlight, and sometimes that flashlight sucks. But that makes it really effective and sometimes kind of scary. And then along with that, the guns themselves, the gunplay. The movement takes some getting used to at first. Like if you haven't played Bodycam, at first when you move around in this game, you're gonna be like, oh shit, I think I'm gonna throw up. But you get used to it. There are some visual filters and adjustments you can do in the options, but it's got a good feeling lean, it's got good ADS, the sway, the movement, all actually really works, where you do still feel accurate. You still feel effective once you get used to it. And that's important. You still wanna feel like a badass, right? So even though the game has this really hyper-realistic feel and visual flair to it, you can still kind of run and gun pretty effectively. I'm not an expert at the regular old PvP mode, but in this zombie mode, I've just really enjoyed that. I've enjoyed both taking it slow, sprinting when I have to retreat, aiming around corners feels really good, but also, again, the guns themselves, the sound, the crack of a pistol, the boom of a shotgun, and just the overall feel to these guns, the muzzle flash, the sparks, the recoil, all that stuff here is just really, really good. The game does a really, really good job of selling that whole thing. And I can tell that's why people definitely get into Bodycam. But for a zombies mode, it's just nice to really take advantage of that stuff, especially because I'm not the most like skilled PvP player anymore. My skills are really rusty, but smoking zombies is awesome. And having another excuse, another opportunity to kind of engage in that Bodycam gameplay is cool here. But again, the way the zombies kind of tend to come out of nowhere can feel a little craptastic or just scary and keeping you on your toes. But also the village map has a really clever thing like where it kind of changes things up as you progress and move through. Sometimes you'll be kind of in the daylight or like the afternoon light, and then all of a sudden pitch darkness, or the snow is coming down real hard. And that can lead to certain moments where it can be really difficult to see, and you gotta like really be extremely perceptive to what's going on around you in order to survive. Again, I still want to stress, there's not a lot to this mode. It's the 2 maps and that's it. And even in those maps, you're not doing a lot other than shooting. But that moment to moment, the fear, the being cornered in a room, running around with your dudes, covering hallways, shooting some zombies, running for your life, getting stuck with a pistol and running out of ammo at the worst possible time, or picking up an awesome machine gun or something like that and just mowing down dudes and hearing the crack of your gunfire. All that just really works. Still, it's not something like I'd recommend you go out and buy Bodycam just for the zombies mode. It's just way too light. And the developers have said, I've seen them post on like their socials and on Reddit and stuff like that, that their main focus is still working on the main Bodycam experience, fleshing that out, finishing that. That's the heart of their whole development, and I totally respect that. But I would like to say that once they finally really wrap that main core game up, when they really get it to where they want and they only focus on content offerings, I think if they leaned into zombies mode, because it is something the community really requested coming back here, I think if they leaned into it, they could really have something on their hands, a really cool optional mode, because you could tell like from day one when Bodycam was first revealed, when it went viral, right? That style of game, that visual filter, all that was begging for a zombies mode. So I'm glad we got a little morsel of it here. It's not a ton, but in moments, it can look incredibly realistic and cool. I'd love to see more engaging maps that require you to do more, different zombie types, more availability of weapons, more reasons to really work together as players, except for like a select few little bits here and there. And again, we're talking zombies, we're talking scary stuff. I'd love to see more gore. Is it the most realistic zombie game ever? I don't know, like mechanically or anything like that, but visually, you know, if you get this just right, you have your settings a certain way, you know, you're taking it slow, this can look very realistic and pretty scary. It's good to play with headphones on, with the lights off, and with a good friend at your side who can hopefully aim better than I can. So again, really not perfect. It is definitely an indie experience. It still has its flaws. It is very much a work in progress, but it was cool to dive in and check it out. So if you already own Bodycam, maybe go for it, maybe see for yourself. But again, we just wanted to look at this today, take a quick look. This video isn't sponsored or anything like that. As the year wraps up, we were looking for some interesting little videos. So let us know what you think. If you did jump into this mode, or if you're like a hardcore Bodycam person and you think I'm wrong about everything, let me know what you think. Whether you played it, whether you haven't, let us know what you're thinking. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you like this video and seeing some gameplay and hearing about a game helped you out at all, clicking the like button helps us out. We'd appreciate that. But hey, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.